Tonight, on the brink after almost 100 years as a household name. 3,800 jobs are at risk at the Bradford-based Grattan's home shopping empire. Are they about to become the biggest victim yet of the recession?
Hello everyone and welcome to Calendar with Duncan Wood and Christine Talbot.
We will be live in Bradford, where a mass meeting this afternoon was told that from today every single employee at Grattan's is at the risk of redundancy in a huge reshuffle. There's shock and disbelief in Bradford tonight after 3,800 workers at the Grattan's home shopping chain were told they are all at risk of losing their jobs.
The company is undergoing a massive restructuring to save money. Most of its staff work in Bradford, with 600 in Sheffield and another 1,000 around the country.
Well, tonight it looks as if the biggest cuts will fall at the headquarters in Bradford. John Hill is there live for us this evening. John?
Duncan, an absolute body blow for the West Yorkshire economy. Grattan's here today announcing significant job losses, although perhaps significantly in a sense they haven't gone into the exact scale of just how many jobs will go. Here are some bold facts. They employ 3,800 people across the UK, 2,200 of whom work in Bradford here and at another site. There are 600 at a call centre. Now, as I say, the company in Sheffield, rather, the company has refused to go into exact details because it says it's entered consultations with the unions. That'll take 3 months. But one source has already suggested 1,200 jobs may go here in Bradford. Those 600 workers at a call centre in Sheffield perhaps might be safer because they're seen as a more profitable part of the business. Well, there's been understandable shock from staff leaving here today.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic, I guess. Yeah.
Will you lose your job here?
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
And how's it feeling inside the workforce?
It's pretty bad, I guess.
I will be really saddened to lose my job, but, you know, I'm not happy with it, but what can you do?
What will it mean to you? What will you do?
Basically, I'll have to look for another job, but the way things are going, it doesn't look good.
Well, it's not really good for Bradford, is it, that? It's terrible, isn't it?
It's pretty sad, really. I think people are upset about it and that, yeah.
Well, John, you've spent the afternoon in Bradford. Could you give us a little bit more detail?
Well, as you can hear, there is shock on the streets of Bradford. The company itself has declined to be interviewed. Any of the managers declined to be interviewed on camera today. But I did speak to the recently appointed Dutch chief executive, that's Kurt Tulleners, and he was quite frank. He said the company had simply missed the boat, and what he was talking about was the growth of internet shopping. Grattan's and Freeman's have traditionally relied on employing middle-aged women to be agents, and it was a system where you could try on the clothes, and if they didn't fit or you didn't like them, you could send them back. But as we all know, e-commerce, online shopping has grown, but Grattan's hasn't followed that trend. It's a firm with a long and proud history, particularly here in Bradford, dating back a century. Well, my colleague Will Venters now charts its fortunes over that last 100 years.
When Signor Fattorini founded Grattan, 25 people each paid a shilling a week. The money was sent and the company dispatched a watch. If you were lucky, you'd get one in the first week.
From small beginnings, Grattan's became a market leader in home shopping. They put their trust in the customer to order and pay later. They were innovative and forward-thinking, allowing buyers to try the merchandise and return garments if they didn't like them. From its starting point in Manchester Road, the company went on to employ more than 5,000 people, generations of families working together under the same roof. And they were always moving with the times.
We had to make a definite effort to make our catalogues far more fashionable and to be more exciting in the way that we presented merchandise.
David Jones, the man credited with seeing Grattan's through the 70s and 80s when computers came onto the scene and telephone sales were king. He's just been knighted in the New Year's Honours List and was in charge when the high street giant Next took over in 1986. This is what he told us this afternoon.
It's very disappointing and very sad. I was with the firm for 10 years, but most of the catalogue companies are experiencing a downturn, so it's not too surprising.
The company has been in German hands for several years and has had to reinvent itself over and over again, particularly because of the arrival of the internet. But today has to be one of the darkest days for one of Bradford's biggest employers.
Yes, and of course people who've been at work today will now be watching this on calendar and realising perhaps the significance now they've come home of the announcement. This company in fact has not made profits for 5 years. What happens now is that union representatives will meet, they'll enter into this 90-day consultation, but it is expected that perhaps 1,000 or more jobs could go from Grattan's here in Bradford.
John Hill live in Bradford, thank you. We can now find out what the union reaction is. David Johnson from Usdaw is in our Manchester studio. Thanks for joining us this evening. Your reaction to this afternoon's news?
Hello Duncan. Well, I'm shocked the same as everybody else. I think a review was taking place. We were all familiar with that review, which commenced last May, I believe it was. The company kept all the people informed of what was happening, but the scale of the at-risk is quite tremendous really, and we're keen to have discussions with the company as soon as possible to try and get firm detail around what's being proposed.
Are we looking here at a situation that isn't purely and simply the credit crunch, but obviously the way that Grattan's and the company has been actually operating in recent times?
I think so. I think the credit crunch clearly has some bearing on it, but a minor bearing, I would have thought. I think in terms of the trading history of the company over the last few years, it has been running at a loss. The company, to be fair, has kept faith with the staff. They've given increases year on year and so forth, but have failed to be able to manage through the problems. And it's reached a stage now where clearly they have to address it.
What hope, if any, can you give to your members this evening in Bradford?
We always have hope. We're going to sit down with the company. We're going to have an honest and open dialogue with them. Our intention is to save as many positions and jobs as possible within the company. The company, for their part, I know, are committed to doing as much as they can to support people, and we would look forward to having those discussions and to reassure our members and the staff at Bradford that we will do all we can to minimise the damage and the impact on them.
OK, David Johnson from the union Usdaw, thank you very much for joining us live this evening.
Well, a few moments ago, I spoke to the Bradford South MP, Gerry Sutcliffe, whose constituency is likely to be worst hit, and I began by asking him what he thought to today's announcement.
Well, I'm sad and disappointed that a company that's had such a close association with Bradford is finding itself in such difficulties. We know that the mail order sector has had problems over the last few years, but clearly, shocked at the size of the problem.
Did you see this coming, Gerry?
We, had discussions with the company over 2 years ago that the German parent company had been making losses, and we thought that there was a possibility that they might be able to turn it around, but clearly that's not been the case. And we now need to work with the company, the unions and the council to try and protect as many jobs as possible. Why do you think it has happened on this scale, or could happen on this scale? Well, as I said, the mail order sector has always had a problem given the different patterns of shopping now that people have had. That traditionally the catalogues have not had the strength in the marketplace as they had previously. But, we didn't see it happening to the scale that it looks like it has. So we need to work now with the company to see how many jobs we can save and then help those people that are going to be made redundant find new skills and find new jobs. Do you think the company has handled this, though, in the right way? I mean, they're only saying at the moment all these jobs are at risk. They're not giving any definite numbers. It's leaving many people very worried, but still in limbo. Well, I think that it's important that we do have a genuine consultation period, so that whilst there are uncertainties around, it gives an opportunity for the unions and all of us that can get involved to make sure that we have the strongest in negotiations to try and minimise the number of jobs that are lost. But I can well understand people feeling very uncomfortable and concerned about what their future job prospects are. And obviously it's not that, there are many jobs going at the moment. I mean, as an MP, what can you actually do? Can you do anything positive to help these people? Well, we can, Christina, and what we will do is work with Yorkshire Forward, the local authority, the Work and Pensions Department. We have a rapid response unit that comes into effect in these cases. The good news is that there are jobs available in Bradford and Yorkshire, but clearly, the size of this, if it does impact in the way that we hope it won't, means that lots of people will lose their jobs, and we need to work very hard with them. Well, that was Gerry Sutcliffe, the Labour MP for Bradford South, speaking to me about today's announcement just a few moments ago.
Well, tonight's breaking news, of course, comes during the week when we're giving you advice on how to get back to work. The recruitment consultant, Stephen Street, is with us. Now, you were booked, actually, Stephen, to come in and talk to us about recruitment before this news broke. So what's your thoughts about the thousands of people who must be going through turmoil tonight?
I'm not sure I'm as surprised as some of your pieces that we've just heard there. There's an old adage that says if you see a bandwagon, it's too late. You know, if you're jumping on a bandwagon, it's too late. And I've looked at that whole mail order model, and it's looked more and more obsolete to me. And we're internet shopping, there's plenty of competition out there, and companies have to adapt quite quickly. Otherwise, you know, the market will deal them a blow, and I think that's really what we're looking at here.